Ever get that feeling where you just, want to really get a key moment in history, understand it properly without wading through tons of documents?
Yeah, to cut through the noise a bit.
Exactly. Well, today, that's our plan. We're doing a deep dive into a really crucial time for the early church members.
We're talking about the events around Doctrine and Covenants sections 102 through 105.
Right. So think Kirtland, that deeply upsetting news coming from Jackson County, Missouri, and that incredible, significant journey of Zion's camp.
It's a fascinating and honestly quite intense period, and we've got some great resources to guide us.
Yeah. Like what?
Well, we're drawing from the Come Follow Me study insights, naturally, and that itself points us to solid historical accounts, things like saints and revelations in context.
Okay.
Plus, we have perspectives from church leaders over the years looking back on this time.
So what's the mission for today's deep dive?
I think our goal is to get beyond just the dates and names. We want to really understand the key events, sure, but also the why behind them, the motivations.
And the lessons.
Yeah.
What can we actually take away from it?
Exactly. Especially around themes like, well, facing really tough times, adversity, the nature of faith when things don't go as planned.
And Zion. What that actually means.
Precisely. How that understanding of Zion evolves.
Okay, let's set the scene then. Kirtland, Ohio. It's a gathering place for many early members.
Center of the church at that time.
And then this news arrives. Devastating news. Their fellow members, their friends, their families perhaps, are being forced out of their homes in Jackson County, Missouri.
Just brutally expelled.
You could just imagine the impact, the heartbreak. These weren't abstract people. These were their brothers and sisters in the faith.
Communities facing real violent persecution, a total shock.
But right in the middle of that pain, you get this powerful declaration. It's in Doctrine and Covenants 103. The Lord says the redemption of Zion will come by power.
Yeah.
What did that mean to them right then? What was the immediate effect of that promise?
Well, it was huge. It really acted as a catalyst, a galvanizing force.
Oh, so?
It directly led to the organization of what they first called the Camp of Israel.
Which we now know as Zion's camp.
Exactly. And think about the commitment. Over 200 men volunteered initially.
Wow.
And along with them, about 25 women and children, too. It wasn't just men.
And their mission. What was the stated goal?
As they understood it then, the mission was pretty direct. March to Missouri?
A long march.
A very long, arduous march. And achieve the redemption of Zion by power, by physically restoring the saints who'd been kicked out, getting them back onto their lands.
So a very tangible physical objective in their minds.
Yes, very much so at that stage.
Okay, so they set out this incredible undertaking, hundreds of miles on foot, a literal march of faith.
Full of hope and determination, despite the hardships.
But then, things take a really sharp, unexpected turn.
They do.
Just as Zion's camp is getting close to Jackson County, basically on the doorstep.
Right there.
Joseph Smith receives instruction from the Lord to disband the camp. No armed conflict, just stop.
Imagine that, after everything they'd been through.
Can you even picture the emotions, the whiplash? For many, maybe most, this must have felt like a failure.
Oh, absolutely. There was significant disappointment, confusion, even anger for some.
Promises unfulfilled, it must have seemed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because their understanding of redeeming Zion was so tied to getting that land back then.
Right.
To travel all that way, sacrifice so much time away from families, resources, enduring sickness and hardship.
Only to be told, okay, turn around.
It was incredibly disheartening for many. The records are quite clear about that initial reaction.
But the story doesn't end there, does it?
No, it doesn't. And this is where it gets really fascinating, because Joseph Smith helped them start to see it differently. He framed it not as a failure, but as part of a bigger divine process.
A test or something more.
A test, certainly, but also perhaps a redefinition. Our sources, especially looking back, show how many of the faithful participants...
Including many future leaders, right?
Yes. A remarkable number of future apostles and 70s were part of this. They started to see the experience as a different kind of redemption.
Not about land, then?
Not primarily, no. It became about forging their faith, deepening it.
How so?
It tested and strengthened their faith in God's power, certainly, but also in Joseph Smith's role as a prophet. Could they follow counsel even when it seemed illogical?
When it went against their expectations.
Precisely. And it shifted their understanding of Zion itself, less about a specific spot on the map.
And more about the people, the community.
Exactly. Zion is the pure in heart, a people prepared to build God's kingdom wherever they were. That concept really started to solidify through this experience.
So the redemption was internal, in a way, a strengthening of the saints themselves.
That's a great way to put it. The trial itself became a refining process, and you see the impact later.
How did it manifest? What was the long-term effect on those who went through it?
Well, think about the leadership qualities it forged. Patience, obedience under duress, absolute reliance on God and his prophet.
Trust when you don't understand everything.
Exactly. That deep-seated trust. Many who endured Zion's camp became the backbone of church leadership for decades. Brigham Young, Heber C. Kimball, Orson Hyde, Parley P. Pratt, the list goes on.
Wow.
Their shared experience, this profound trial, became a foundational story of sacrifice, faith, and obedience that really shaped the church's trajectory.
It taught them that building Zion, the people of Zion, often involves tests that push you beyond what you initially expected or even wanted.
Absolutely. Spiritual growth rarely happens on the path of least resistance.
Now, these sections 102 to 105, they cover more than just Zion's camp, important as it is.
That's right. Section 102, for instance, gives us a look into church structure.
The first High Council, right? In Kirtland.
Yes, a really significant step in organizing church governance, and it details the procedures for what we now call membership councils.
Why was that organization needed right then? What was the driving force?
Well, as the church grew, there was a need for established leadership and a process for handling difficult situations, for administering justice and mercy within the community. Order was needed.
And there's a clear purpose outlined for these councils, isn't there? I think President Ballard spoke about this.
He did, very clearly. He outlined a threefold purpose based on the principles in these revelations. First, the primary aim is always redemptive, to save the soul of the transgressor. It's about love, support, repentance.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Second, to protect the innocent, to ensure that the actions of one don't harm others unnecessarily.
Right. Accountability and protection.
And third, to safeguard the church's purity, integrity, and good name, maintaining the standards and reputation of the church as a whole.
So it's this balanced concern for the individual, protection for the community, and upholding the church's standards.
Exactly. A divinely inspired balance.
Okay, connecting that idea of safeguarding the church and building Zion.
Yeah.
Section 105 circles back to Missouri.
It does, and it's quite direct about why things went wrong there, why they lost that promised land, at least for that time.
What does it say?
The Lord states very plainly that the transgressions of my people were a major factor.
Oof. That's sobering.
It is. It's a powerful reminder about the connection between righteousness and blessings, especially collective ones like Zion.
What kinds of transgressions are we talking about? Does it specify?
Section 105 itself doesn't list them exhaustively, but if you look at other revelations and accounts from that time, you see issues like contention, arguments, lack of unity, maybe some greed, definitely struggles with living the law of consecration fully.
So internal problems, not just external persecution.
Very much so. The Lord's message seems clear. Building Zion isn't just about claiming land. It requires a people prepared in their hearts. Righteousness, unity, charity.
Which makes you think. What hinders us today in our own lives, our families, our wards? What transgressions might be holding back Zion in a broader sense?
That's the crucial takeaway question, isn't it? It's a call for personal and collective reflection. Building Zion starts inside each of us.
Absolutely. And that brings us right back to Zion's camp again, but through the lens of it being a massive trial of faith.
A defining one.
The Come Follow Me materials really highlight the incredibly tough journey, lack of resources, sickness.
And then the apparent lack of success, at least by their initial measure.
Right. So let's do a thought experiment. Imagine you're writing to someone on that camp, someone deeply discouraged, maybe questioning everything after being told to disband.
Okay, a tough letter to write.
What could you even say? What truths from these very sections, 103 or 105, could offer real encouragement, not just platitudes?
That's a great question. I think I'd point them to Doctrine and Covenants 103, verse 12.
What does that say?
It asks, essentially, how has the Lord blessed you after much tribulation? It prompts a shift in perspective. Look beyond the immediate struggle. What have you learned? How have you grown? How might God use this later?
So encouraging them to see potential future blessings, even if they can't see them yet.
Yes. And reminding them their sacrifice wasn't wasted. The Lord saw their faithfulness. He will bless them, maybe not in the way they expected, but He will.
Any other verses?
Section 105 emphasizes patience, waiting on the Lord. It stresses obedience even when you don't get the why, trusting God's bigger plan. even when your own view is limited.
So it's about faith in the process, even without immediate visible results.
Exactly, which is a lesson many of us need today, maybe in different contexts, like missionary work, perhaps.
Oh, that's a powerful parallel. A missionary serving diligently, seeing few baptisms, maybe feeling discouraged, like their efforts aren't successful.
Right. The lessons of Zion's camp, the focus on obedience, faith, personal growth, trusting God's timing can offer immense perspective there too. Success isn't always measured by immediate visible outcomes.
That idea of long-term purpose in trials, it reminds me of something Elder Orson F. Whitney said. I think President Kimball quoted it often.
Yes, powerful counsel.
He basically said that none of our suffering is wasted, right?
Exactly. It's all part of our education. It develops character, patience, faith, fortitude, humility. It purifies us.
And ultimately helps us become more like God.
Yes. It reframes trials completely, not as punishments or meaningless hardships, but as essential parts of our eternal progression.
So, seeing challenges not as roadblocks, but as refining opportunities.
Precisely. The immediate pain can be intense, no doubt. But Elder Whitney's perspective helps us look beyond that to the eternal value, the growth that's happening.
Just like for the members of Zion's camp, who gained so much strength, even if they didn't realize it fully at the time.
That adversity shaped them profoundly.
Now, the difficulties weren't just spiritual or physical hardship. The church faced real financial struggles back in 1834, too.
Yes, significant challenges.
And Doctrine and Covenants, Section 104, addresses this head-on. It talks a lot about stewardship, doesn't it?
It really does. It lays out the principle that everything we have ultimately belongs to God.
And we're just managers, stewards.
Exactly. We're entrusted with managing a portion of his resources. Verses like 11 through 18, and then later around 78, really emphasize this.
So what does that mean practically? How does that principle of stewardship apply to us, with our own finances today?
Well, it means recognizing God's ownership first, then using what he gives us wisely, righteously, not just for ourselves,
but to bless others, build the kingdom.
Yes. It calls for accountability, avoiding waste, being generous, especially with those in need, seeking his guidance in how we earn, save, and spend.
There are some powerful stories about this, aren't there? Like John Tanner.
Oh, absolutely. John Tanner's story is incredible, sacrificing wealth to support the church, and other resources highlight the dignity of labor and using our means well. It's about a heart consecrated to God, which includes our finances.
And this idea of using blessings to help others, it seems to connect to another theme here. Even in teachings for children, Section 103, verse 9, encourages being a light unto the world.
A simple, beautiful concept. Following Jesus Christ makes us a light.
How does that work in everyday life, being a light?
I think it just means living Christ's teachings. Kindness, service, honesty, integrity. When we do that, our actions naturally illuminate the path for others.
Like that children's song, Jesus Wants Me for a Sunbeam.
Exactly. Letting our goodness shine through simple, consistent actions.
And that light definitely shines brighter when we actively share what we have, which Section 104, verses 13 to 18, really emphasizes sharing with those in need.
It's a core principle of a Zion society, isn't it? Looking out for each other.
So how can we live that today, practically speaking?
Well, it means being aware. Looking beyond our own circle. It could be financial help, sure, but also donating time, talents, offering emotional support, just being more generous and compassionate day to day.
Maybe even just consciously listing our blessings, recognizing God's hand, can motivate us to share more freely.
Absolutely. Gratitude often fuels generosity. There are some great church videos like The Coat that illustrate this powerfully.
And as we try to live these principles, stewardship, sharing, being a light, Section 104, has a promise attached. Verse 42.
Yes. A wonderful promise.
It says, if we keep the commandments, we'll be blessed with a multiplicity of blessings. What does that word, multiplicity, suggest to you?
It suggests abundance, doesn't it? More than we can count, perhaps. Blessings that multiply like ripples spreading out.
So not just one for one, but an overflowing measure.
I think so. Obedience unlocks blessings, both temporal and spiritual, that compound and enrich not just our lives, but the lives of others too. It's an expansive promise.
Okay, one last major theme that really stands out, especially considering the context of conflict surrounding Zion's camp. Section 105 talks about being peacemakers.
Crucial, especially then and certainly now.
The Lord really emphasizes peace, working together even with those who might oppose us or just see things differently. Why is that so central?
Look at verses 38 to 40 in Section 105. The word peace is repeated over and over.
Renounce war and proclaim peace.
Exactly. It's paramount in the Lord's eyes. Peace isn't just avoiding conflict, it's actively building harmony, understanding, goodwill,
Even when it's hard.
especially when it's hard. Seeking peace allows for dialogue, for potential resolution. The story of Zion's camp itself shows how difficult maintaining peace can be under pressure.
And President Nelson has spoken so much about this recently.
Yes, his call for us to be peacemakers is incredibly relevant. He gives very practical advice on how to do that in our families, communities, and the world. It's an active pursuit.
So bringing this all together, wow, now we've covered a lot. From the initial shock and heartbreak in Kirtland,
To the complex, challenging, ultimately faith-building journey of Zion's camp.
we've looked at the enduring lessons about faith, especially when things don't go according to our plan.
And the early steps in church organization, the principles behind membership councils.
The vital link between righteousness, both personal and collective, and actually building Zion.
Principles of stewardship, how we manage God's blessings.
And this divine call to be lights, to share, and to be active peacemakers.
It really is a rich set of revelations with deep practical application.
Okay, so as we wrap up, here's something maybe to chew on, something to think about after listening.
All right.
Given everything we've discussed about Zion's camp, the expectations, the reality, the unexpected outcome, how might you need to rethink your definition of success when you face your own trials and setbacks?
That's a searching question. Success in God's eyes versus the world's eyes, or even our own initial expectations.
And one more, thinking about stewardship, about Section 104, what's one specific, tangible thing you could do this week, maybe even today, to use your blessings, time, talents, resources, to create a more just, compassionate space around you?
Moving from principle to action, yeah. Pondering what redemption truly means and what Zion really requires of us. Those are journeys worth taking.
When the weight is heavy on your chest and the night won't let you rest, when the silence feels like God is gone and you wonder how you'll carry on, hold on, this isn't where it ends. He's still near yet hard to see. After the fire comes the rain. After the heartbreak, healing again. Out of the ashes, beauty will rise. Hope is reborn in the darkest night. You're not alone, though the trial burns higher. Peace will come after the fire. When your prayers feel empty in the air and it seems like no one's there, when the answers take too long to show, just keep walking, you're not walking alone. Every tear that falls is seen, every broken dream redeemed. After the fire comes the rain. After the heartbreak, healing again. Out of the ashes, beauty will rise. Hope is reborn in the darkest night. You're not alone, though the trial burns higher. Peace will come after the fire. He never promised we'd walk without pain, but he promised he'd walk through the flames. And grace like a river will carry you through. The God of the past is still faithful to you. After the fire comes the rain. After the heartbreak, healing again. Out of the ashes, beauty will rise. Hope is reborn in the darkest night. You're not alone, though the trial burns higher. Peace will come after the fire.